After 14 years of running an agency helping 450 to 500 clients do over $300 million in revenue, I can assure you that there are 7 standard, consistent mistakes that we continue to see that business owners are making who want to grow and scale their businesses in 2025 that you cannot afford to make. And I'm going to share with you each of those 7 right here, right now. Mistake number 1 is not making a decision to commit to the growth of your business with digital marketing, essentially running around with your head in the sand. Now, before you get mad at me, I don't expect to get any fans out of this, but before you get mad, just understand what I mean by putting your head in the sand. And that is, for many of you who've had your business for 10, 15, 20 years, you're still doing things the way you've always done it. And there's a little bit of a resistance to embrace this modern era of marketing. All you have to do is look at the numbers. Google gets trillions and trillions of searches online. There are ads at the top of Google. You're not running ads. Facebook has 3 billion people on its platform every single day, including what happens with Instagram. And yet you're not posting on Instagram and Facebook. And guess what? It's free. You look around and there are places all over, 1 billion people on LinkedIn every single day. If I Google your page, I bet you're not posting over there either, and you're probably not running ads there as well. This idea that you're going to grow your business the old way we did it, right? Things evolve, things change. And so my encouragement is don't make the mistake of putting your head in the sand. If you're still doing trade shows, great, keep doing them, but find some way to carve out some budget to get serious about this digital landscape. If you continue to ignore that buyers have changed their consumption of media and how they use technology and how they watch television, everything has changed. Years ago, we watched television. Then came along cable. Next thing you know, we have streaming. Now we have platforms like YouTube, who also now have subscription services that have full-blown media channels on them. We have to understand that our marketing has changed and the way we're going to reach consumers has changed. Mistake number 1 is to make a decision. Mistake number 2 that we see over and over again is companies that have been doing business for a while think that they know more about their buyer than they actually do today. Now, let me be clear that I'm not talking about the demographics of their customer. I'm not talking about the job title. I'm not talking about their age. I'm not talking about where they live. I'm talking about the psychographics of their buyer persona, the psychographics of how their buyers are moving today. I mean, if we just jump back a half decade ago, most of us were congregating and out in the marketplace. Well, guess what? At a time when COVID hit, we are all now used to working virtual. We're going to less places. Businesses that had brick and mortar locations are seeing less traffic. We're seeing people use their phone to order food to come to their house right from an app. They don't even have to pick up the phone and call the business anymore. Things are changing. And the question is, are you changing how you're approaching your buyer's behavior in today's market? 14 years ago, when we started our digital marketing agency, people came to our brick and mortar location right here in Las Vegas. We no longer have a brick and mortar location. We no longer have an office building. We have a place where the mail shows up, sure, but we do not care about some of the same things that helped grow our business in the early days. And I'm asking you the same thought is, are you adjusting to your buyer persona today? Are you meeting them where they are? Are you adjusting to how they're operating? Are you understanding that today we're all operating from mobile devices and we're doing things and consuming and making decisions in completely different ways? I really want to challenge you to really understand your buyer persona today. Mistake number 3 is not having a primary traffic channel, a primary channel online where you are trying to be discovered as a business. Now, if you follow my brand at all, you know we talk about omni-channel presence. We talk about being visible everywhere. But the reality is we've got to start with a primary place, right? So if you're a business to consumer brand and maybe you are late to the game of doing SEO for Google, then maybe that's going to be Facebook and maybe that's going to be Instagram. But you've got to have a primary. When we sit down and do audits with our clients in our 90-day sprint process, we want to know where is the primary channel that you're putting all of your energy and all of your major effort into, so then we can start to figure out how do we peel off and build the omni-channel strategy. But the question is where is your primary channel? Don't tell me that, well, we're doing this over here and then we're posting on Pinterest and we're doing this over here on Instagram and then, yeah, we started a TikTok channel and we're trying to learn these skits so we can dance and all that. What are we doing? Like, just decide Number one. Number two, understand your buyer persona. Number three, where are they showing up? And go be there at the very minimum. Most of the time, before we go omni-channel with our clients, we laser them down into one primary channel. And let's be clear, you do not have to follow the masses. Just because TikTok's blowing up doesn't mean you got to be on TikTok. Just because your buyer is a fluent B2B purchaser doesn't really mean that you have to find them on LinkedIn. I've got a video here on the channel where we talk about we've got data to prove that we're finding affluent high-end B2B buyers on Meta on Facebook today. But that's for another conversation. My challenge for you here is what is your, if I was sitting in your office right now, what is your main traffic channel? Where are you trying to be discovered most right now, and where are you having the most success? What's that number one channel where you're driving traffic? And if you don't have one, I'd have you consider the possibility that you do need one. Mistake number 4 is not having a go-to lead generation strategy in the digital game. What do I mean by digital lead generation strategy? Well, when we come in and work with a company, we want to make sure there's at least one main call to action that is not to buy your product. One main call to action where someone can raise their hand and become a lead in your world, but it doesn't mean that they're ready for a quote or a consultation or a strategy meeting or to buy your product. One of the biggest mistakes that most businesses make is that they only put a purchase aware offer in front of their visitors, whether it's from social media or Google or their website or whatever the case may be. We believe you've got to have something that's in the middle and at the top of the funnel where a perfect stranger can raise their hand, take a small step forward, and come into your world so that your sales team has them in the CRM and they can nurture them down the line to a conversion. So think about your business. If you are, and I see this all the time because I audit hundreds of websites on an annual basis, I see at least 70 or 80% of the businesses, they have no other option in their brand other than to start the conversation to buy something. And so when we talk about not having a primary single source lead generation strategy, sure, we can have multiple lead magnets if we want to, but we don't want to start there. And if we're starting from a situation where the business has been doing well, but now we're not doing so well for whatever reason, we want to figure out what is that number one primary lead generation strategy so we can avoid the mistake of trying to be everything to everyone and narrow in on one of the most biggest primary concerns that your buyers may have so you can start generating more leads. Mistake number 5 seems obvious, and that is not having a lead nurturing strategy. Now, what is a lead nurturing strategy? It's simply this. It's when someone takes that step to come into your world on a lead generation campaign who's not ready to buy yet. You haven't thought fully how you're going to nurture that buyer if they don't buy for 18 months. And you say, well, wait a minute, Darrell, 18 months? No, we got to make sales quota this month. I hear you. But here's what you must understand is that the money's in the math. The money's in the math. I hate to be talking about math on this video, but the reality is you're just hoping for more people to buy than are ready to buy in any given situation, in any given market, in any given product or service. You must have a robust lead nurturing strategy. What if every time you thought about acquiring a lead, you thought, oh, they're probably not going to buy for 18 months. I bet you would change how you think about nurturing your leads. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not going to make now buyer leads, because there are a percentage of the market, 1 to 2, maybe 3% at any given time, who are ready to buy today. But I'm saying we want to put in a robust lead nurturing strategy that works on autopilot using technology, using ads, content, and email, so that you have consistent sales happening over time. I was looking at the analytics of one of our clients the other day, and there were some recent sales that had come in, and I love to set the chart up so we can see when did the person become a customer. Now, this is a brand that's been around, they make a lot of sales, and the customer became a contact in their CRM in 2017. 2017. Now, let me ask you, now the sale value is $20,000 approximately. If they had not had a lead nurturing system, they would have never made the sale from a prospect who originally came in 2017. This, by the way, at the time of recording this video is 2025. That was 8 years ago. So that's the value of getting now money on a prospect who found you years ago, and all it reveals to you is that they weren't ready to buy then, and they were ready to buy today. The question is will you be there when they're ready? That's what a good lead nurturing strategy will do. Mistake number 6 is not having a lifetime value strategy. right? So it costs a lot to get our first customers in the door. And we always talk as marketing, we always talk about the cost per acquisition. How much does it cost us to get a customer, right? CAC, cost of customer acquisition, right? And we put so much energy on what it takes to get a customer, and yet we don't have a formula for increasing the lifetime value of a customer. What does that mean, right? So in our world, it means three things. Number one, how do we have a model and a process to get that person to buy from us again in the future? What are we going to do to increase the value of that customer over time? What would we do to get them to buy again? Number two, what is our strategy to get them to refer other people to us? Because once we've paid to get them as a customer through our marketing, through our efforts, through our content, through our ads, whatever it is, we've paid something to get them to be a customer. Well, what is that we can do to deepen our relationship with that customer so that if they knew someone who could use our service or our product, that they would then refer that person, which means our cost of acquisition goes down and increases the lifetime value of that customer, right? And then what is the third part of that, which is how do we get this customer to be an advocate, not just a customer who refers someone, but how do we get them to say something positive about us online or in a review on Google or on Yelp or on social media? Because advocacy is as much a strategy as it is getting them to repurchase or getting them to refer. And so we're always talking to our clients about, do you have an advocacy strategy? Do you have a way to get them to talk about their positive experience? Reality is most people won't. I think studies say that generally 20% of people who are happy with a product or service will be open to leaving a review or a testimonial. The other, 60% of people, they will begrudgingly, but you do have to ask. And there's 20% of the population who really, even they could fall in love with you, but they're still not going to say anything online. But the goal is, do you have an advocacy or an enrichment program where you're going to be able to get your prospects to say something online so that other people like them will say, oh, if they trusted them to get the job done, then they will trust you to get the job done. You got to have a lifetime value strategy. And the last mistake that I see that most people make over the last 14 years is that they really don't have a growth team to help them do it all. They're really trying to hire one person here or one person there, or they hire people in silos. Maybe there is an agency doing SEO, or maybe there's a consultant who's doing Facebook ads, or maybe there's someone on staff who's handling their internal PR and their brand work and their flyers for their offline events. And there's a lot of disjointedness going on in most of these companies that we take over. And I don't mean take over in a negative way, because we'll come in and work with your team, train your team, or if you need a team, we bring our team in one complete package. But as a founder CEO who is really looking to grow, all of the things we've talked about up until now, all of these mistakes that need to be avoided can be done by having the right growth strategist sitting in your corner with the right team that they bring to the table. And that's what we offer at our agency. Now, everyone doesn't need that. So if you're lacking strategy, you've got to think about not just these mistakes, but who's calling the shots every day in your marketing. Who's responsible for growth? Who's responsible for the brand voice? Who's responsible for the traffic? Who's responsible for the lead gen offers? Who's responsible for the nurturing strategy? Who's responsible for the lifetime value strategy? And listen, if you're a smaller company, I already know you got too many things on your plate, but you can't scale and grow if you don't have someone thinking about this all day on your behalf. So not having a growth team, and a growth team can be just a couple people, it could be an outside resource, but you want a holistic resource. You don't want one person over here doing this and one person over there. And I've seen it for 14 years. I've got 4 people that I can think of right now where all it was just getting everybody working on the same page to avoid all of these mistakes. And so these 7 mistakes are, they seem to be obvious in most cases to some when we break them down, but from our perspective, these are things that can really be detrimental to the growth of your business, okay? Not understanding, number 1, that you've even made a decision. Number 2, not understanding your buyer. Number 3, not having a primary traffic source. Number 4, not having a primary lead generation mechanism. Number 5, not having a long-term lead nurturing system that's going to convert those leads. Number 6, not having a lifetime value strategy, which is really going to amplify your ROI in all of your digital efforts. And number 6, going along in this path, thinking you're going to grow digitally with a lot of siloed efforts and not having a growth team. If any of these 7 mistakes you feel like you're making and you'd like to get some help, there are 2 links below that you can choose the path that makes the most sense for you. And we would love to have a conversation with you if that makes sense. If not, subscribe to the channel so you get more videos like this. And then we should have a couple videos popping up right here or right here. I'll see you next time.